I'm pretty happy with that. My first bonnet. G'day! Welcome to CROC Rods. Here we have a Plymouth Duster bonnet with a massive 5-inch scoop on it. You think that's cool? Well, it's not in Australia. Can't have it, it's illegal. So I'm going to chop this thing off. I'm going to put this 6-pack scoop on it. Right about there. I'm still waiting on measurements. That's where it's going to go. So I'm going to fill in some parts underneath it, make sure it's all nice and strong again, graft this in, as well as bolt it, just for extra insurance, and should be good to go. Let's get started on that. Let's give you a bit of a look at the inside structure here. So this is a molded piece from underneath the original bonnet, and you got it grafted. They've glassed it up like that, filled it, did a decent job. So I got to cut all that, and under the front there, you see that grey bit that comes up? That's not the front of the bonnet scoop, that's the front of the structure that's underneath. So I'm going to cut in along like that with a recip saw and my multi-tool. And there we have a big hole and a toboggan bonus. That's all going to be easy to fill. Well, there's going to be a big hole here, but that's going to be easy to build up to the level. This area here is going to be easy to fill. This, not so much. So I'm going to, because I've cut through here, I'm going to grind some of this away, fill that with glass. All along there. Then after that's mostly set, I'm going to fill this with foam. Then get it to the right level, shape it, glass over the top. I'll have to grind into here so I can glass onto that. And it'll all be good. Now I'll get a piece of, I think I've got some PVC plastic that I can put across there. Glass under like from underneath and blend it. I'll end up grinding some of this away underneath so I can build it back up to the same level it was. This area back here, I'll just chuck this scoop on. Also, this scoop needs work. I'll just demonstrate that real quick. So in here is the joint. All right, I'm gonna have to fill that with glass all the way around. I'll show you why. So that scoop sits roughly there. Right. We've got an overhang. That will close up a little bit when I get rid of that ridge in there, but it's still further than the bonnet line. It's hard to see the bonnet line, but it overhangs. You can see the bonnet line there. It's going to come this way a little bit, but this edge overhangs that, so I've got to fill this in and then cut this like on a slope like that, and then blend it into the bonnet. So I'll end up grinding some of the bonnet away, glassing it, and then smoothing it back out. This gap will shrink a little bit once I've removed the ridge. So, but I've still got to fill this and bring it up to a nice level and finish it. And do that. And basically I've got to fill all the way back to here. Yep. And then just probably cut the hole out later. This will get bolted down, seam sealed, and then grafted with glass. So that would be super strong. First job is glass this, grind that out, glass it, and then glass the the seam around there. So I got that filled. So what I did is I used this carbide burr on my drill, trenched it, and then put tape under the back and just filled it. And then I started on this. So there's this lip. You see how it goes up? Yeah, you can see that it goes up. It's not supposed to, it's supposed to go flat. So what I've done here is made it go flat. And I started using body files. These ones here, this is a 40 grit speed file, and this one's a proper body file. Well, it's a very sharp little thing. And that was going all right. It's like, you know, my arms started to get tired because I'm weak. Belt sander, 80 grit belt on that thing. Chewed through that in like 30 seconds. So it's not going to take long. This part is extremely hard. So I have to take most of that off. So it's all that thickness along the back. So basically just from there to there. There's still a slight little slope. The body line, it's hard to see, but if you feel it, it ends here. It just starts there, so we're going to take all this down flat. And I haven't even touched this side, so that's how much I've got to remove. All this to bring it to this level, either side. Would you ever go with that? There's a big bread loaf on the front of this bonnet. And it looks like it's done its job, but I've cut it off, and it's hollow, which sucks. So I'm going to put a little bit of foam in, let it do its thing, possibly do a bit more foam. Lesson learned, don't put too much foam in, just do a little bit at a time, unless it's proper AB foam that sets all the way through. That looks better. I've also had the scoop on there, marked it out, marked the center. And I have to trim some of the side off the scoop on here because it's not symmetrical. And I'll come down to here, removing that lip that I showed earlier. I'm still going to come around the front. So I'm going to put this in. I'm going to put some bevels here, so I can glass up to the bevels, and glass over to the back, and shove glass in under this crack here. Pretty straightforward. Look at that, it's all filled in. Wraps around the edge. Now I've just beveled these, marked where I've got to fill to. I'm going to clamp that piece of PVC on the bonnet and fill in this area. Do that. There we have it. Piece of PVC is in place. I like using plastics and stuff because fiberglass typically doesn't stick to it very well. That's the piece of tape from that cut I made. So I taped over it, gouged out the other side, filled it, and then foam filled this section, glassed over the top of it because I can't get to it while I'm doing this, but it's still fresh. It's not fully cured yet, so it's still a little bit bendy, you see that? So I'm going to be having glass come up here, glass over to here, where I've ground it roughly. It'll bond to it pretty good. So, first thing I'm going to do is ram glass in there, where I put the bevel on the top side. Same here, same here. Then I'll start laminating the whole thing. And then the final coat will be that cloth, just like that, to the same area, maybe a bit further past. And then this bonnet's going to get painted anyway, so it won't matter if it's all mismatched under there. Yeah, that's where I'm at, that's what I'm doing. So I'll put you on a time lapse and show you some of that. There we have it. Beautiful. You might be wondering why I didn't glass this area. From about there around to there, be cut out. That's waste material. I've got the scoop set up on my boat seat trolley thing. Got the printers being noisy in the background. Got 3 of the 4 going. And I'm going to fill that, the join, with various weights of chopped strand mat and polyester resin. Now that I've got all the glass rammed into that corner on both sides, I'm going to cover this whole area in this cloth, and that'll make it look nice and professional. It's purely for aesthetics, just to get rid of any bits. It'll just cover all that nicely. Let's do that. And there it is. Looks exactly the same, but it's shiny. And all in there, all the way up in there. Look at that alligator skin, it's beautiful. I'll show you why that happened, or how it happened. This is the piece I used. There's a plastic film on it. And the film shrunk or expanded and left that nice pattern on there, which is fine, you know, doesn't really matter. And then I put the bonnet scoop back on after this and realized that there was a big gap where the flange is. You see the flange in there? So I built that up, same way, just a different support material. Got that joined to that and filled up. Still needs a lot of sanding through there. And then the other thing I got to do is, after I've got that straight, put this guy on there. It's around about where it goes. The customer wanted this bonnet flat, no ridge. So you see that? So I got to fill that up. So I'm thinking about getting rid of this edge, most of it, and I'm going to be using this stuff, fiberglass filler. So it's a fiberglass reinforced filler, as well as this stuff, polyurethane, and bolts, and extra glass laminate over all the flanges to hold this down. So it's going to have at least 4 bolts, maybe more, depending on how big the gaps are, because I don't really want to try and pull it down with bolts. So anywhere where it's sitting flat, like along here, I'll have bolts. I have 1, 2, I could probably get away with 6. And then under here, and any of the gaps, like the one at the front, you can see the gap up in there. I'll have that fiberglass filler, and then I'll put mat, or probably cloth, over. And then after I cut that away, because it's overhanging this bonnet line, blend it in, remove some of this grey material, put glass mat over that, pretty much the whole way around, and then have quite a bit of body work to do to blend that in, which is fine. I don't like body work, but if you want to make something look nice, you got to do body work. Whoever's going to paint this guy is going to have fun getting paint up under there, that's for sure. I'm going to throw some primer on it eventually, just to make it all uniform, and it will allow me to see low and high spots, and I'll be able to block it out. But yeah, that's all joined into that while it was still fresh. I didn't show that, but yeah, all this overhang will sand off. It's all tucked in into the bevel. That ain't going anywhere. It's getting closer. Would you have a look at that? It's beautiful. That nice edge I put on there. It's way nicer than the edge that was already there. Beautiful. Now, I've already lined this up with the laser. I've drilled countersunk using countersink Allen key bolt things. 8 of them. So that's not going anywhere just with those. But I'm going to grind this back or sand it back to raw glass, all the painted area. And that's where the urethane is going to start. And I've already ground this much off this side. So I'm going to grind back further to raw glass and grind down here to raw glass. Fill that, the main step with filler, and then put cloth, fiberglass cloth over it all around. I'm gonna cut this about this much off. I've already filled this in from the inside, so this is all solid glass in here. So I'm gonna cut this sort of flat area off, and then so I'm gonna just blend it down into there. And same on that side, taking a little bit off that, just so it lines up with this bonnet line a bit better. So you can see the bonnet line that comes through. It has to go over a wee bit. Once the bolts are in, it all lines up. So there it is. It always looks rough before it looks better. So now I'm going to spread some filler on that. I'll sand it down a little bit first because there's a few high spots that don't need to be there. And make it look beautiful. About now. And there we have it. Look at that. Seamless. I'm pretty happy with that. My first bonnet. Took that big toboggan off it. Put the 6-pack scoop on. Not too shabby. Thanks for watching.